Hello everybody. We're going to be looking at something a little bit different today, a prop shaft that I've never seen before and only a couple of lads in the workshop have, so let's go and have a look. Okay, so this prop shaft that we're having a look at today is off a Volvo 360. Nobody here at the moment, a little bit late, all the office is shut up. We're remodelling in here for a new workshop space. But anyway, let's have a look at this. So this is a Volvo 360 torque tube. So it's a little bit different than normal prop shafts. This is they had these on a few different vehicles. Volvo had them, Peugeot had them, Maserati, a few other high-powered vehicles. So basically, it's a big steel tube with a hole down the centre. Let's have a look, there we go. Yep. With a hole down the centre. And inside that tube sits this long steel bar, which is the prop shaft of the drive shaft. So we've taken this bar out of here to check it. The bar's fine. I suppose the camera shows it looks a little bit bent, but it's not actually bent. It's fine. The problem that we have with it is inside here, which I don't think I can show you there. I'll try and get down. We'll get a bit of a torch. Let's go and find a torch. We've got one over here. Take one of the emergency torches. See if we can see it inside here. There we go. Take that away. So inside there should be a bearing inside that housing. That bearing's fallen out of the housing. So inside here, there's actually 3 lots of bearings. So we've got them marked. So that's where that bearing housing is there. It's fallen out. The bearing's fallen out of its housing. So there's 3 bearing housing. One of them's here, one of them's here, and one of them's here. So those bearings are held in by rubber fins on the outside. So we've got to take those bearing houses out to get inside there. It's not exactly the easiest job. We have to make a couple of tools for it to be able to get them onto our press and get them out, but all 3 of those bearing houses have got to come out. So if you have a look over here, we've got a nice long piece of bar, a stop and a puller. So we'll put all those together and put them inside our big hydraulic puller and get those parts out. So I've just got the steel rod here. The reason we have to do this is, I'll draw it on here quickly. Inside this tube, just like this, there's a bearing housing. It's a little bit square, something like that, and the bearing sits inside here. So the bearing here has fallen out, but this bearing holder in here is held in by little rubber fins at the top here and at the bottom here. It's a circle, a full circle of rubber fins. So that just holds that unit in place so that the bar in the middle can spin freely on the inside. It's not glued in or anything like that, but it is quite a tight fit. So this little piece will go down at one end in here, and we'll draw everything out the full length of the prop shaft or the torque tube out there to take them all out. So then we'll be left with 3 of these. So there's three of these, one at this line, one at this line, one at this line. So we'll have to take all 3 of those out to get to them, because we can't get the one at that end without pulling all 3 of them out at the same time. But the customer has said he wants all 3 of them changing, which is a bonus. So it's a little bit easier for us. But yeah, so they have 2 types. On some of them, it's like a little cup like this where the bearing sits in, but on others, it's a little bit different. It's kind of shaped a little bit like this. So it comes down, out and round down, and that's a pressed item, and the bearing sits inside here, and it's riveted all the way around the outside. We don't think it's that type, we've not taken it out yet, but we'll have a look soon. We think it's this type, which is a bonus, because it's a little bit easier to get out and work on. If it's this type, you've got riveting and messing around to do, but we'll soon find out. But morning, we're back with this again this morning, the Volvo, so I'll just show you again what we've got. So this is the shaft here, this is the bar that we're going to use to draw it out. We're going to go and put it on the machine now and have a look at it. A bit loud in here today, working day as usual. So this is the shaft itself. So inside here, there we go. Got a piece of threaded bar that goes all the way down through the bearings that are all the way down there. And then same at this end. All the way through there, if we can just see that. So it comes out there. Whoa. So on the end of this, on this side here, there's going to be a circular boss, which is just being machined down a little bit. We don't want it to be too tight. And on this end here, when it pops out, we're going to have a T-bar that we can bolt to, and then we can fasten it to the machine using our pullers and pull all the bearings out. So on the end of this little bar here, we've got a plug. It's the right diameter to fit inside there. It's a mil or two off, just so it allows us, if there's any rust on the inside, we don't need to worry about it. And on this end of the shaft, once that slides all the way up, we'll put a bar on so that we can draw it out. So we'll get this fastened in the machine and see how it goes. So now it's set up and we can start pulling it off. It's not exactly what I wanted to say, but now we start pulling these bearings out. So if we just move it back, as you can see, it's pulling back. You can hear a squeak, right? So we'll move back forward and pull again. So as you can see, it's drawing it out. So the first bearing has now moved from this position here, and we're up here. So we'll draw it back again and get the next, draw it back up again. A lot easier with a big hydraulic puller like this. So these are what's holding it in there. So this is the bearing that's failed and dropped out. So we need to have a look at these, see what we can do to repair them, and then fit them back in. Hello, so we're back with the Volvo shaft that's now been split into its component parts, and we are left with these. So this is what's inside the prop shaft, 3 of these. So inside there, if you can see, there's a little insert. It's a rubber outer, a centre bearing or a bearing in the middle, and a little insert inside that. So once you take the bearing out, this is one with the bearing out, we're left with that sort of coupling that I drew earlier, and it's just held in by these rubber bars around the top. So it's just little fins, little rubber fins that hold it in place, that stop steel on steel transference of vibration really. So this helps with keeping the vibration down. Also inside this little bearing here, we've got a little shoulder. So this is a 25mm bearing. It actually collars down through this collar to 19.93mm. And it's got a little rubber insert in there. So that rubber insert's got to come out. Doesn't come out very easy because it's all pressed in place. But when we get them out, it looks like this. So it's a little metal collar that goes on the inside of the bearing, inside here, like that. So we've got to take those three collars out now. There's one of them already out. I've got to take it out of these two. Remove those collars, and then we can put them inside the new bearings. So we'll just take them apart. I'll show you how we'll take them apart, because you have to actually grind on the inside. Obviously there's a shoulder there on that side that you can see, but on the inside, on this side, I don't know if you can see this slight little shoulder here, it's peened over on this side. So we need to take that off. So it's basically grinding the top of this off flat, so that we can then press it back out in there. They're actually a tight fit, and when you put the quill or the inside of the actual shaft back in to the back inside the torque tube, you're pressing against this side anyway, so the shaft can't actually go through, it can't move, and it runs in a fixed position anyway. So it's just a little bit of extra safety on the inside there, the actual peened over. But that's the only way of changing the bearings on these, is to take that little edge off. So we'll take that little edge off and press the inside of this collar out on the other two units. So these are the old bearings that we had, FAG bearings. The part number was 6005CZ. So there's the old bearings, there's the old inserts, and this is the dampers from the outside. We got the three of those. This is the three dampers from the outside. So here's the bearings and the insert. So I'm going to put the bearing inside the insert. Just press it in, press nice and easy. There we go, that's the insert in. Now, so we'll do that with all three of them. So now we've got the bearings can go back inside the housings. So we'll just press those back in place. We've just got a socket here that's the right diameter on the outside, which is a bonus, so we didn't really need to make a jig. So that presses nice and square inside there. Check the bearing. We've got all three of them here now, all back inside. So we'll take these back over here. Those three are all assembled nicely. If we look at the complete setup here, this is the bar and the torque tube. So we actually marked as a guide on the torque tube where these sat. We've got the measurements as well, but it was just an easy guide for us so that we knew what we were dealing with. So this sits about there. So that bolt lines up with that hole. That bolt lines up with that hole. This actually goes to the diff. So there's a little bar that comes out of the diff that goes inside there and gets clamped. So those two holes line up there. You can actually see on the bar itself here, where the rubber's been, where the centre bearing's been running, and where the rubber sat is in line with that. So we have one rubber that will sit there, one rubber that will sit there, and the last rubber will sit there like that. You can actually see little marks on the underneath where the rubber's actually been running. So we've got a guide anyway where we know it sits. So initially we're just going to press the whole quill in with just bearing inside the torque tube. So we've just got a little jig that fits on the end, snuggles up tight to the inner race of the bearing, and fits nice on the outside of the actual dampener itself, so we can press it all in one go and nothing straining anywhere. So we'll just put a light little bit of oil down the bar, just to allow it to slide a little bit easier so it doesn't grip too much. Just as a press, we're just using some tube, so this insert will go on here like this, and then the tube will go on there like that, and then we'll just slowly press it in. As far as the hydraulic ram will take us, we've only got I think about 300mm movement on our ram, so we'll just have to move the bar forward or use some longer tube, but it's actually easier. We've got 300mm centres on our hydraulic ram here, so we'll just move the bar forward 300mm or so, and then same thing again, bar back on and press it down, so we'll get that first one into place. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you've got any comments, put them below for us and we can answer any questions you've got. And get that. We've now got the quill in place here with the first bearing that we put on, all sat in the right position. Underneath that piece of tube is the quill itself, and this is the torque tube. So we're going to press this bearing here all the way down the torque tube to its first mark. There we go. That's it going inside the tube now. So this is going to press all the way down, as I said, to this first mark here. It's a bit loud. We're cutting some steel here to go in the end. So just show you quickly. These are the 2 points of the quill. There we go. These are the 2 points of the quill where you get to the nut. So these two nuts here. So we've got the quill the right length. We've measured up to our white line. We're happy with that. So this is the quill inside with its first bearing. So we've got to put the other two bearings in now. This line here, white line, was just for us to, as a guide on where it needs to go, so we're pretty good there. So we're going to press in the other two. We're going to press in the other two outers and bearings now, down to these 2 points here, one to here and one to here.
Here's the finished article. So all 3 bearings are in place at our 3 points, and hopefully you can't hear anything there's no noise whatsoever coming from there. So before it was rattling, in fact a bearing had fallen out. So that's everything back in place. These type of shafts can't be balanced. It's a solid bar, it's a solid machine bar, straight bar. If the bar was bent, then we would have issues, but the bar isn't bent, we're okay. So we've got the right length. If you look to measure it up, turn it over. Inside here, we've got the coupling. So that's where you bolt the end spline onto the diff. So we're lined up there. And at this end, before it actually came to us, somebody had already marked it up with a nice little white line. So we had to, because somebody had touched it before it arrived with us, we can only go off what arrived with us because there's no paperwork on these things. So if you've got any questions, or if you want